Pets are our subject today, and Fred Levy is our pet photographer, and he's right here in town, and he's also right here with me today. So hi, Fred. So tell me, I'm always taking pictures of my dog, Billy Bob, and lately he's gotten so that when he sees the camera coming, he turns his head. He really does. It's hysterical. It's like, not again, please. But anyway, I just wondered, first of all, let's start with when you started this and why.
I started taking pet photos when we adopted our first dog, Toby. So 12-something years ago. My background's photography. It's always been photography from a fine arts perspective. But when I got our dog and when I started going out and taking pictures, I'd go to the dog park and then nothing else to do. I bring my camera and I take lots of pictures, and I met some really great people. And then I found out there's this thing called pet photography. Like, it's a thing, like it's a niche. And I'm like, wow, if there's anything in the world that I could think I could do forever, that would be it. So I started focusing on just photographing pets.
Oh, so I was imagining that when you were a little kid, you decided it was fun watching pets and taking pictures, but this is a good reason right there.
Photography was the first love, and then dogs and pets became the second, and just working with animals.
Well, okay, so this is why we decided to photograph pets. And I was wondering about that. What is the most unusual pet you've ever photographed?
I did get to photograph a chicken with a hamster together, and that was interesting. So it was fine until the chicken tried to peck the eyes out of the hamster. So, but it was for the holidays. You got to show love where you see it. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. Mostly what I do is dogs. I photographed horses. I photographed cats. One pig, which was adorable because he got dressed up by these two little girls every day. So, but pigs are not. Pigs are a pet that you get because you really want to have a pet pig. They are very willful creatures. Too smart for most people.
And no matter what kind of pet we have, that's the one we love, and we want to see the picture up there of that pet. Turtle or snake sometimes.
Sometimes.
So do you have a favorite type?
Of pet or?
Pet.
Well, I'm definitely partial to dogs.
Yeah.
I have two dogs now, Iggy and Jack, and they, they're great. But Toby was our first dog that really got us into photography. So, so I like working with dogs. I love photographing horses, though, when I get a chance to. They're amazing. They're like giant dogs. If you don't spend any time with horses, you don't really know much about them. So the first time I got to really interact with horses, they were like giant dogs. Do you have a treat? What are you doing? Are we going to play? Those are the kind of things that they want to know.
Well, does it take long to photograph a pet, or do you use snacks or?
Treats are pretty much required for most dogs. Every dog's different, but if you really want their attention, you need to find what they love. So some dogs love treats. A lot of dogs are easy to manipulate with treats. Others like their toy, or they have a favorite toy. I did a photo session with a client where we did this big walk around this lake, and their dog loves the stick. So almost every picture was with the stick. So I had to be creative to try to take the stick away to get a good picture of the dog without the stick. So there's always a catch, right? So there's something to get them to look. But yeah, I've only had a few dogs that have really not enjoyed the process, but I try to make it so the dogs are having fun. So,
well, what kind of timing do you need? Like, okay, I need your pet for me for an hour because it'll take that long to pose, or 10 minutes, or just it depend on the pet?
I try to do sessions based off of not on time, but on when we feel like we've got enough photos. So because dogs have a hard time telling time, so it's really hard to tell them, hey, we've only got 15 minutes left. You really got to show me your A game now. Dogs don't do that. So you have to work without a time schedule. So I don't do like back-to-back. If I do mini sessions, I've done that at pet stores or for fundraiser events or things like that. But I try not to do them because you never quite know what you're getting. And I really want to make sure I'm creating the best work possible. So when I do my sessions, I don't put a time limit. I treat it like a baseball game. You know, there's 9 innings and then there's done, but there's no actual clock. So
It's probably a lot like photographing children. You hope that they're not going to cry or something, and dogs, you're hoping that he's not going to, you know, want to go over in the corner there and just look around or something.
right.
But
It helps to have the opportunity to stop and like pause and reflect. Same thing when you're photographing kids, like they don't really care about time. But if they're getting so frustrated with the shooting process, play a game, spend some time. Same with dogs. You want to play a game, spend some time, let them relax. Like the hardest part is often that the client is there and they're like, oh, they're not going to be good, and then they get nervous. And if the client's getting nervous, then the dog sees that their owner's getting nervous, so they're like, I should be nervous too. So you got to like, okay, everyone's got to be relaxed. If everybody stays relaxed, the dog will stay relaxed, and we'll get much nicer photographs.
and you need the person there? I mean, couldn't they leave the room or something?
Oh no, no, they have to be the
okay.
the dog would be very upset if they
okay.
if their owner just like took off. So,
Yeah.
and I need them there to sort of be the handler, to help guide the dog, because the dog's going to look at them first more than me. Like I'm hiding behind this giant eyeball of a lens, so they want to make sure that they're comfortable, and I want to make sure the dog is comfortable. So, because if the dog's not comfortable, we're getting no good pictures.
Do you get many people who want to be photographed with their dog?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, not always. Some people are just like, I only want pictures of my dog. I don't care about me. It's all about the dog. But I've had others who are like, you know, I really want to capture this moment in time, and I want to make sure that this is me with my dogs at this point in my life. So, you know, it's very important, because the Achilles heel of dog ownership or any pet ownership, for most, unless it's like a turtle that lives longer than you, you know, is that we're gonna outlive them. So we are their whole lives, but they are only part of ours. So the joy of this photography work is that I get to be able to say, you know, you have this moment and it's captured in time.
Yeah. Well, are you a dog whisperer? Do you have to?
I've definitely gotten better. I wouldn't say that I'm really a dog whisperer so much, but as of someone who's like, I've just gotten really good at knowing the tells and being able to understand, you know, what a dog is thinking about and how to kind of encourage them to do something. I'm never trying to force a dog to do anything. You know, I'll definitely like move a butt around here and there, but I won't try to, you know, force them to do something that they don't want to do, because then they're just going to fight against it. So I have to turn it into something that they want to do. And if there's a reward, dogs love rewards.
With that, though, can you tell when a pet comes through the door that this is going to be easy, or I really need a lot of patience today?
I can tell more of that from the owner than from the dog.
Oh.
So if the owner is like I said earlier, is nervous or anxious or has really high expectations of what should happen versus what does happen, then that can wind the dog up, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. So a lot of times, especially if I'm shooting in the studio, the nice thing is we can take some pictures, stop, look at the photographs, let the dog relax, and we're not paying attention to the dog so much anymore, and they can kind of like, oh, okay, it's not all about me right now. And then come back to them, it's like, oh, okay, so this isn't such a terrible place. No one's giving me shots. No one's sticking any probes anywhere I don't want, right? So they think it's pretty good, and there's lots of treats involved.
Yeah, I was thinking that sometimes I bet a pet owner comes in and it's like, I want this kind of picture. I want him in that pose. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That has happened?
Oh, sure.
Oh.
I've had some dog owners who have had many of the same dogs. Either like they have a show dog, or they like a particular breed of show dogs, and they do that. So there's a particular kind of look or stance to those kinds of photographs, or they have the photograph of their first dog and they want to kind of emulate that same thing in their latest dog. Huh. So, you know, I try to take a unique photo of that dog, but try to emulate the first photo that they want to kind of match it to.
So there's a lot more to this than my looking at Billy Bob and saying, click.
No, yeah.
Although he's very photogenic, I have
Of
to
course.
say that. Yeah, so, but I think that sounds like fun, actually. I'm sure at times it could be difficult, but I think it sounds kind of like fun to do that. And so is there anything else that you think we should know about you or the business?
I think if someone is interested in doing photography for their pets, there are 3 great times to take pictures. When you first get the dog, whether it's like a puppy or something adopted that's maybe a couple of years old, when they're in their prime of their life, when they're sort of full grown, maybe a little bit more relaxed, 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere around there, and then when they're seniors, not when they're like on their deathbed, because I've had a few calls like that, and it's a little heartbreaking because they're doing it because it's like, I should have done it earlier. And I never want people to think, oh, I should have done it. So, and then but if you do get that third shot of like when they are seniors, they're still able to get around, they got gray on the face, and maybe they're moving a little bit slow and they prefer to just kind of hang out on the couch more than go for a run in the woods. Those are the 3 times that people should think about getting photos for their pets. So they have a complete picture of them. I mean, people should be running around taking pictures with their phones and their own cameras and taking lots and lots of pictures. But if you want to have a professional where you can create something that would look beautiful hanging up in your home, then you call someone like me.
Well, that sounds good. I've owned about 4 or 5 dogs in our married life, and have their pictures. I still have one little picture of each one on a table because they were all of the same way. But Billy Bob's he's there now that we are alone because our children are married and have children. So he's become our last child, and that's why I think I take so many pictures of him. But
Not spoiled
I can
at all.
understand people wanting, the professional picture of their dog or cat. So, have you ever refused anyone?
Ever refused anyone?
Or at least
think
said, it's not happening, so I can't do it or something?
I really bend over backwards to try to make sure that I can work with whoever needs it. I've never had anybody demand certain things or sort of I want everything you have, but I don't want to pay anything for it. It's like, well, if you don't want to pay anything for it, then you don't get anything I have. So, but I've never had anyone show up for a session and they were bad to their dogs or something went wrong. No, nothing like that. I've been pretty fortunate. The nice thing about working with dog people or pet people in general, that if they know how to pick up their own dog's poop, they understand that the world is not so crazy and all about them. I find that pet people just have a little bit different perspective than non-pet people.
Ah, interesting.
Nothing against non-pet people, just saying. These are my people.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, well, so if we want a professional photograph of our pet, how do we get in touch with you?
Well, the best thing to do is probably go to my website. You can take a look at my work, and then there is a Let's Talk page, and you can fill out a form, and I can call you back at a time that works best for you. And then we can talk on the phone, talk about your dog, about what's important about your dog, what kind of photos that you're looking for, whether it's in studio or on location, and sort of what you want most out of the session. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good. Well, take a look at his website, and if you have a pet you love, you might want to take a picture this way, very professionally. And so thank you, Fred. I enjoyed that, and I'll tell Billy Bob all about it too.
Excellent. keep that treat bag handy. You want to look at the camera, you put the treat right in front of the camera.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.